is an example of nepotism run amok. An experiment, if you will. Let's turn to one of the dumbest families in politics, and let's see if we can prop this guy up and get some ratings. And, of course, it's a failure. He has his own show now. You wouldn't know that because nobody watches it. But it doesn't matter. Chris Cuomo, he was on CNN last night. Where else? And he is insisting that when the president calls the press the enemy of the people, and he called the fake news media the enemy of the people, that obviously he hates America. Now, keep in mind, last time I checked, Chris Cuomo, IQ negative 17, he never objected when his hero, Barack Milhouse Benito Obama, sicked the FBI on media outlets. Oh, yeah. Intercepted the phone calls of a Fox reporter and the Associated Press and others. That didn't bother him. Because Obama sounds good. He says cool stuff. He's really neat. Trump, they don't like. Even though he doesn't sick the FBI on them. Just think about that. Anyway, cut one, go.
This tweet was bad for you, Mr. President. Here it is. The summit with Russia was a great success. Nobody thinks that. Except with the real...
All right, Hey, dummy. That's not a tweet by the president when you interject your own nonsense. The summit with Russia may have been a great success. You've got no idea. Depending on what they discussed, maybe it's first of many meetings. I do know this, the endless meetings that John Kerry had with the Islamo-Nazis from Tehran, now that was a failure. But of course you're not interested in that, because you're a Cuomo. Start from the top, please. Go.
This tweet was bad for you, Mr. President. Here it is. The summit with Russia was a great success. Nobody thinks that. Except with the real enemy of the people, the fake news media.
Now let's stop right there. If it's fake news, why isn't the enemy of the people? Fake news would be corporate media outlets and their hired mouthpieces who pretend to be newscasters but are pseudo-newscasters. That is, they are statist progressives, they are ideologues, advancing their agenda, their viewpoints, under the rubric of freedom of the press and news. Nobody's saying we should stop them. But why can't you point it out? And why isn't that conduct that undermines society? I think it is. Go ahead.
It's ugly and it is unoriginal. But most importantly, it is an admission that you hate your country. How so? Here's the case.
Here's the case from the genius now. Philosopher King Chris Cuomo. Here's the case. Here, let's listen in, shall we? Go ahead.
This phrase was an operative threat to murder opposition in the French Revolution, right? You know, Khrushchev.
What? The French Revolution? The French Revolution. The phrase that fake news is the enemy of the people was in the French Revolution? Where was that? Fake news is the enemy? Go ahead.
Identified the phrase as part of a campaign to annihilate individuals, literally, who disagreed with the supreme leader. Khrushchev?
He used the term fake news too? Khrushchev did? You idiot. Go ahead.
His predecessor, Stalin, used it specifically with artists and thinkers that threatened his narrow views of humanity. Did you know that Mao used it during his murderous campaigns? America, the country you lead, was formed in defiance of strong men.
Stop. Let me educate you, you moron. Before the revolution in the United States, the printers in this country had to fight for the right to print what they wanted to print. Several printing presses, and there weren't many, were shut down by various colonial assemblies. It didn't just pop up, freedom of the press. First Amendment didn't just happen. So there is a long history prior to the revolution and to some extent during the revolution and post-revolution where we did not have a purely free press, where idiots like you would have been put out of business. That's a fact. Now, when it comes to a free press, I think you're a little confused, Mr. Cuomo. A free press is not when a guy like you pretends to be a journalist or reporter with your political pedigree and your ideological bias, burping up your ideas and interrupting even a tweet. Every day, every night, same damn thing from you and your colleagues, or should I say comrades? May I say comrades? Yes, I think I may. That phrase, he says, was operative during these police states. Fake news was not a phrase that was operative during those periods of time. Do tyrants destroy free speech? Yes. Do tyrants destroy freedom of the press? Yes. So how has Donald Trump destroyed free speech or freedom of the press? Just one instance. How has he done it? By calling out the hacks, the frauds, the phonies? That doesn't destroy free press. You know what destroys the freedom of the press in this country? Those who pretend to be the press. There are some real press outlets where they make an effort. They give it the old college try. But then there's CNN and MSNBC. They don't give it the college try. They know exactly what they're doing. They're fighting over the Democrat base. That's what they're doing. Now, we don't need a history lesson from a guy who can barely put a sentence together. Go ahead.
Please. And the idea that might makes right. A free press is
Who said might makes right, you idiot? Incredible, isn't it? As I said, it was Obama who unleashed law enforcement against the media. Is there any evidence that Donald Trump has done anything close to what Obama did? Of course not. Go ahead.
What makes America great? So you have now admitted that you are against what we are all about. And the real problem now... You
know, that to hear a fool like this suggest to the nation, or the 12 people watching him, that the free press is about Chris Cuomo is pathetic. These guys attack Fox News left and right. They attack Sean Hannity left and right. They got one guy, Brian Stelter, dumb as a rock. He gets paid every weekend to attack Sean Hannity. So when they attack Fox News, they're protecting freedom of the press, really? And when talk radio comes under attack every 5 or 6 years from the Democrat Party and their bureaucratic surrogates to try and put us out of business, do you ever hear them talking about freedom of the press then? Of course you don't hear them talking about freedom of the press. They are statist progressives. They don't believe in discussion and debate and engagement. They don't believe in any of that stuff. They believe in centralized autocracy. They believe in the iron fist. I would ask you this, Mr. Cuomo. You talk about these tyrannies. Are you familiar when you mention communists like Khrushchev and Mao, of where their ideology comes from? Are you familiar that it comes from, among others, Rousseau and Hegel and Marx? Are you familiar with the fact that progressivism, that your family has practiced and imposed on the people of New York for decades, is the bastard child of those ideologies? Are you aware of that? And yet there you are, on TV, preaching against, well, tyranny, big government. And then pretending that you protect freedom of speech. We constitutionalists, we protect all the Constitution. We defend the entire Constitution. It is people like Chris Cuomo in black robes who call themselves judges and justices who are constantly attacking the First Amendment when it comes to contributions to political campaigns or advocacy groups so they can husband the resources to run expensive television ads on dying networks like CNN, who charge confiscatory rates. That's when they say, no, that's not freedom of speech. Only what we say is freedom of speech, right? This guy's a fraud. Cuomo, he's an idiot. And so now that you see the President of the United States hates America. Not Barack Obama, who wants to fundamentally transform America. Trashes America. our Declaration, our Constitution, our economic system. Trashes America. Don't believe in national sovereignty and borders. They're all for America, don't you know? But it's Trump who wants to build up the military, who defends law enforcement, who wants to give the people their money back, who wants to secure the border, who's putting judges in place who want to uphold the Constitution. See, he's un-American. Chris Cuomo is a Svengali. That's what he is. But he's too stupid to know what that even means. But he's not alone. Jake Tapper of Handgun Control Inc. Jake Tapper of Mezvinsky. Jake Tapper of Planned Parenthood, his family. He sits there smugly telling us he doesn't like lies, so he'll straighten it out for us over there at CNN. CNN, that has no ratings. And then we have to listen to this clown Joe Scarborough. I'll get to him after the break. Do you know my ratings at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday are much larger than this clown's ratings at prime time during the week? I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.